My role is to have discussions. We have a collective wisdom. We are strong in the sense that we are a community. And together we can search for and arrive at good solutions. I'm just a catalyst for discussion. And people will see what needs to be done themselves. That's my role, and that's the role I see for myself. I am too old for any other sort of leadership. I could see lots of wonderful people. I want to inspire young, talented people through my meetings, and also to diagnose the problems we've got.
Welcome to the Going Big podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Gentry, and this is the place where we celebrate bold moves and big ideas. Each week, I sit down with inspiring leaders, entrepreneurs, and change makers who are making a significant impact in their careers and in their communities. Whether you're looking to level up your leadership, pursue your passion, or just get inspired to take your next big leap, this is where those stories come to life. Now, if you're listening on iTunes, YouTube, or anywhere else you tune into podcasts, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss an episode. Now, let's dive in to what it means to truly go big. Ladies and gentlemen, today on the Going Big podcast, I am deeply honored to be able to welcome Lech Wałęsa, a man who literally changed the course of history in the latter half of the 20th century. As you may know, here's a man who, as an electrician at the Gdańsk shipyards in Poland, did the unthinkable by challenging the Soviet Empire in the 1980s. And ultimately by organizing a trade union that began over a protest over bread prices, grew that membership to over 10 million members, and through a nonviolent demonstration of support for their rights, helped bring down the Berlin Wall. It's an astonishing story, and what better epitome of going big than Lech Wałęsa. Here's a man again who had humble beginnings as an electrician, as a worker at this shipyard, who ultimately was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his efforts and became the popularly elected president of Poland as well. He has a lot of thoughts on the future of the world. What a pleasure to welcome Lech Wałęsa. Well, President Wałęsa, it's great to have you here today. I want to start off by asking you, what gave you the courage to go big as a shipyard worker in Gdańsk, Poland, to challenge the Soviet regime, which otherwise anybody thought was unshakable and unmovable?
We saw that communism has exhausted its possibilities, and the development of Poland, Europe, and the entire world was much ahead of it. We noticed also that the post-World War II organization of the world, with the divisions, Borders division of Germany, also hindered the development of the world. And therefore, for us practitioners, as it were, the question was how to change this. Theoreticians said that it would take World War III to change anything. But the practitioners, such as me, said, we need to find reasoning which would help us. And so we got to work.
Amazing. Well, thank you for helping us avoid World War III. Well, my next question is, you grew up in a small Polish village. First, it was under Nazi occupation and then Soviet domination. What was it about growing up in your family that gave you the ideas that you could ultimately challenge the Soviet Union?
I remember when I was about 10, it was 1953.
Zmarł właśnie wtedy Stalin.
as Stalin had just died.
Na mojej wiosce nie było
And
prądu, nie było radia,
We didn't have television or radio or even electric power,
ale ludzie, sąsiedzi
but
spotykali się i dyskutowali.
people, our neighbors, would meet and talk.
I ja
And
niechcący od dziecka
I
słyszałem to
eavesdropped on them as a kid.
i wyciągnąłem dwa wnioski.
And I had two conclusions.
Nienawidzą komunizmu.
That they hate communism, that was first.
A drugie nienawidzą.
And second, and that they hate the Soviets.
I pomyślałem sobie wtedy tak.
And
Ja
I thought
się
to myself,
uczyć i będę się starał,
I'm going to study
aby iść w
and
tym kierunku
do
i dokonać tego.
everything that I can so to get rid of them.
Oczywiście to było
Of course, that was unrealistic for a 10-year-old. I actually forgot about this for years.
Ale kiedy z tej wioski
But
wyjechałem,
when I left my village to Gdańsk,
trafiłem za 3 lata na strajk w stoczni Gdańskiej.
the first strike at the shipyard, where it was 3 years after I arrived in Gdańsk.
I wybrałem
And
mnie na szefa
I was
strajku.
chosen to be the strike leader.
Przypomniało mi się
And
bardzo moje
I
marzenie.
then remembered my dream from when I was a kid.
Zacząłem realizować te marzenia.
And I started putting it into practice.
I późniejsze podobne zdarzenia
And
wciąż
later events
I mimo, że przegrywałem
also
bitwy,
reminded me
wciąż
of this
by wojnę wygrać. Aż
and gave me the confidence to struggle until I won, and I did win.
ale
But
ja
I was
nauczony
taught to take advantage of circumstances, especially if they led to what I was aiming for.
Well, we are very grateful.
Proszę pana, niezupełnie, bo problem polega,
The problem was
że to było burzenie starego porządku,
that was the dismantling of the old world order,
ale burzenie po to, by zbudować nowy
in
porządek.
order to build a new world order.
Ale po tamtej brudnej
But
epoce
after that dirty era,
tylko musimy się nawzajem przekonać.
we don't believe each other, so we need to convince each other now,
I
be able to.
dziś w świecie się dzieje
And
przekonywanie co do przyszłego rozwoju.
today, there is a seesaw situation around the world which should lead to future development. Should.
Przekonywanie się przez nietrafne wybory naszych
And
szefów
sometimes we can get convinced by making the wrong decisions, including the wrong electoral decisions.
i wiele innych zachowań, ale to te zachowania są po to,
And
by tego pozbierać
these
dobre, a niedobre
bad
odnieść.
things are there for us to take stock of them and to separate the wheat from the chaff.
Wszystkie zorganizowania, partia
All the
polityczna,
organizations, political parties, even democracy itself,
z tamtego okresu nie
from
nadaje
that
się na
old
dzisiejsze
era
czasy.
is obsolete.
Musimy to wszystko
We need
poprawić.
to amend everything.
Musimy na nowo
We
zdefiniować,
need
co
to
znaczy
redefine what
co znaczy
it is
pluralizm.
all about.
Dlaczego ludzie nie wierzą w
We
demokrację?
need to see why people don't believe in
Dlaczego nie
democracy
bronią
anymore,
demokracji?
why they don't defend democracy.
To wszystko są znów
All
diagnozy,
this
by
are
zastanowić dobre
diagnoses. And only if you get the right diagnosis can you get the right treatment.
ale do tego leczenia potrzeba
But
jest krajów wiodących.
This treatment has to be administered by leading countries.
Jak już zauważamy,
So
wielkie
we can
zmiany
already
bez
see
Stanów Zjednoczonych
that
są niemożliwe.
that you cannot do anything without such a superpower as the U.S.
I Stany Zjednoczone muszą
And the U.S.
zdecydowanie
has to
mocno
be decisive, has to be tough,
argumentować, aby świat
has to do it by convincing people, by
Takie
presenting the right
przywództwo
arguments.
tego wielkiego mocarstwa jest potrzebne.
That's what this great superpower is there for.
I pomóc im w diagnozie, wybrać
And
dobre,
what we can do is help this great superpower to make the right diagnosis and to reach for the correct treatment. And I've came here. I've got a lot of meetings so that I can look for these good diagnoses with you. And you, as a leading country, can perhaps take notice of that.
Well, thank you. That's a great point. And I do want to come back to how you would advise us to overcome fear, but let's take it to where you are today. You're in the United States and Canada on a long speaking tour because you want to bring attention to what's going on in the world today, the concerns you have for the future. But President Wałęsa, you were awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1983 for your important leadership efforts. How do you define peace today? I mean, in a democratic society, how should we be thinking about peace?
Proszę pana, problem polega na tym,
The problem is that
musimy zauważyć,
we need to notice
odniosłem wielki sukces w
that
rozbijaniu starego porządku,
I won by destroying the old world order,
ale musimy zauważyć właśnie,
but
że
we need to see
to by się niczym skończyło,
that would amount to nothing
gdybyśmy nie zbilansowali i nie wybrali
if we
następnych
did not
rozwiązań.
take stock of what we've done and chosen of the correct way forward.
I te rozwiązania
And
musiało
those solutions
podjąć przywódcy Stanów Zjednoczonych.
had to be also agreed upon by the leader of the United States.
Ja jeździłem, przekonywałem,
I would go to the U.S., go to and try to convince people,
natomiast politycy, w tym
and I could convince the American
pomagali
people,
nas, wspierali
but
nas.
the lawmakers and the presidents, sure, they would support us, but nobody wanted to take a tough decision.
Ale udało mi się przekonać
But I managed to convince
prezydenta, któremu należy się Nagroda
a
Nobla.
person who is deserving of the Nobel Peace Prize.
To był Bill Clinton.
I was Bill Clinton.
On podjął męską
He
decyzję,
took a tough decision
wprowadzając Polskę i
to
inne do Unii, do NATO.
help Poland and other Eastern European countries join NATO.
I to ta pokojowa decyzja,
And
to
this
ona
peaceful
okazała się
decision
zwycięstwem.
was the key.
A moje strajki, moje solidarność,
My strikes, my
to było
solidarity,
piękne,
that was
to było
beautiful.
porządek, ale nie
It
bilansowało.
destroyed the old order, but didn't put us back into a certain equilibrium.
Dlatego występuję
That's
publicznie,
why I would like to go on record
publicznie, abyśmy naprawdę
that
postarali się o Nagrodę Nobla do
you
prezydenta
support
miała
me
być
in supporting the nomination of Bill Clinton for the Nobel Peace Prize,
bo to jego decyzja
because it was his
do
decision led to the consolidation of our victory.
I musimy to zrozumieć, abyśmy
And we need to
następne
understand
nasze
this
dążenia nauczyli się bilansować.
because that shows that it's not enough to win. You need to arrive at a new equilibrium.
I zauważać, kto tego dokonał.
And we need to acknowledge who actually did it.
Ja dokonałem, ale nie mogłem zbilansować.
I did my bit, but I could not get the equilibrium.
I dziś mamy podobną
And
sytuację.
we've got a similar situation today.
Robimy wiele, Europa
We're
robi,
doing a lot, or Europe is doing a lot.
ale zbilansowanie należy
But
do waszego prezydenta.
In order to arrive at a new equilibrium, we need your president's help.
Jeśli nie zbilansuje,
If
wszystko
he
straci.
doesn't introduce a new equilibrium, we'll lose everything.
To są trudne decyzje.
These are very difficult decisions.
Well, President Wałęsa, again, we applaud you for continuing to lead. And I have to say that you're now in your 80s. Very few people at this point are continuing to speak out in the manner that you are. And again, we really applaud you. And these insights that you're sharing are fascinating. I want to challenge this point about fear. I think so many people just don't know what to do and how to stand up. And for the Soviets, they arrested you, they beat you up, they threatened you and your family. Um, what would you suggest to people around the world? How should they think about standing up and speaking out?
Trzeba pamiętać o tym, że
We need to remember
na tym świecie jesteśmy
that
tylko w dzierżawie,
we've only leased the world,
że przed nami wieczność.
that there's eternity ahead of us.
I trzeba też
And
tego krótkiego żywota naszego.
Need to realize that we've only got a short lifespan.
Mnie pomagała wiara moja.
My faith helped me, my faith in God.
Oczywiście mój Pan Bóg jest komputera
Of
najnowszej
course, my God is like a latest generation computer.
I on mnie jest bardzo potrzebny.
And I need him a lot.
On jest bardzo potrzebny światu.
The world needs him a lot.
Bardzo potrzebny prezydentom.
He needs the presidents, plural presidents needed him a lot.
On leczy nas ze strachu.
And God heals us from fear.
Ja się zawsze bałem.
I was always afraid
Właśnie Pana Boga.
Of God. And I was a bit afraid of my wife as well.
Well, that's pretty amazing. Well, President Wałęsa, you were able to draw on a lot of support. There was certainly the Polish Pope, John Paul II, played an indispensable role, President Ronald Reagan, British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. But you were able to bring together the dissidents, the intellectuals, the workers. What advice would you have to us about how to do these kinds of things? I mean, what you did was pretty amazing.
Już mówiłem,
like I said,
prawie wszyscy zauważali w świecie w tamtym czasie.
Almost everyone recognized throughout the world back then that communism had run its course and it blocked development.
Tak jak dzisiaj ludzie też
Because today people notice
świat żąda od nas rozwoju.
The world demands development.
A nie możemy tego dokonać
But we cannot do it using the old ways.
Do naszej technologii obecnej to państewka
But
kraje to za małe.
Nation states are too small to deal with our problems today.
Cały problem świata polega na tym,
The entire problems of the world is because we are not keeping up structure-wise and organizationally with what is going on. At the end of the 20th century, the best structure were nation states. But now, technology has gone so much ahead that nation states are too little, too small. And such, we already had great civilizations on Earth. They would build pyramids, which we probably couldn't do in dozens of years. And those civilizations fell. And we are nearing their level of development. Now, the question is whether we will make the same mistakes as they did. If we recognize that today's technology requires a reorganizing of things, we need to realize that this cannot be done by nation states. I noticed 15 global subjects which can be only solved in a global way. And this is where the US comes in, so that these big issues could be dealt with by the United States insofar as the US could come up with directions to follow. And
to Stany
If
odpowiadają za
other
realizację
countries,
tych
the
tematów.
rest of the world agrees that, okay, this is the right direction, then the U.S. could be responsible for their implementation.
Około 30 tematów przewidywałem kontynentalnych.
There are 30 continental subjects I've seen as well.
I w Europie proponowałem
In
Niemcom,
Europe, that
Francuzom
is.
i Włochom,
And similarly, I wanted to suggest to the largest European countries, Italy, Germany, France,
aby oni przygotowali rozwiązania w
to
tych 30
prepare
tematach.
solutions for these 30 issues.
Jeśli zrobią to dobrze,
And if they succeed,
to Europa odda im w
Europe
całości odpowiedzialność
would
za realizację tych
give
tematów.
them the responsibility to actually implement those solutions.
Takie rzeczy na dzisiaj powinniśmy o tym myśleć, dyskutować.
This is
w
the
tym
way we
kierunku
should
i
think. We should
uratować
discuss these
cywilizację.
things in such a direction in order to save our civilization.
To nie jest wcale trudne,
And it's not difficult, really.
tylko trzeba, aby ci odpowiedzialność wzięli na siebie.
You need to take responsibility.
Żadne pokolenie, w
No
kształcie pokoleń
generation
nie miało
had
takiej szansy pokój na
an
to, że na
opportunity
dobrobyt tak
such as we do.
Ale
But
musimy
you need
zauważyć,
to
co trzeba
see
zrobić.
what needs to be done.
Well, let me ask you a related question, and this is perfect given that in the 1980s, you inspired all of us around the world. What advice would you give to people thinking about stepping forward in leadership today? We desperately need leadership. We know that around the world. So, for anyone listening around the world, what would you say to inspire them to how do we get better people to step forward?
Pokazałem panu,
I showed you
że ja i
that
my rozumieliśmy, że tamte
we saw that the old post-World War II order
blokuje rozwój.
hindered developments
Nie zgodzi się na reformy.
and that it was impervious to reform.
Tylko trzeba go zburzyć.
It had to be destroyed.
I tego dokonaliśmy.
And that's what we've done.
Finezyjnie, pokojowo.
We did this in a surgical way, peacefully.
Bill Clinton zablokował i potwierdził słuszność.
Bill Clinton, with his decisions, confirmed that we were right.
Ale było to po to,
But that was in order to create a new order.
Ale żeby budować nowy ład, to musimy go
And in order to create a new order, we need to discuss things.
I dziś musimy zrozumieć, dziś
And we need to understand that
ale dyskusja przez błędne wybory przywódców,
people do make mistakes. And we need to realize that these mistakes,
przez demagogię i populizm,
including demagogues and populists,
ale tylko po to, żeby
are there
temu
to see
znalazła się grupa, która pozbiera dobre rozwiązania, złe
how
odrzuci.
bad it is to separate the wheat from the chaff, like I said. And you need leaders for that,
I w trzecie tysiąclecie pójdziemy z
so that
dobrymi
we can
rozwiązaniami.
enter the third millennium with good solutions.
Taki jest sens dziś i taka jest dzisiaj
This is
rola i zadania.
the task for today.
A więc dyskutujmy.
So we need to talk. We need to meet.
Postawmy dobre diagnozy jak w
We
medycynie.
should arrive at the proper diagnosis, just like in medicine.
Ale
And then the
będzie
treatment
proste.
will be easy.
Well, it may be simple, but it's not easy. President Wałęsa, this has been a wonderful time. I was just in the old East Berlin. I went to the Stasi Museum. I went to Checkpoint Charlie. I went to the Berlin Wall Museum, and everywhere around that are reminders of your leadership. You are well recognized for your efforts. And today, if people who are listening to this in the United States and Canada want to come hear you in person, I think they can go to historyexplorer.com to check it out, or just Google it. You're speaking for the next several weeks. Thank you for doing that. Again, for people around the world who are listening, what message would you like them to take away today?
Moja rola jest dyskutujmy.
My role is to have discussions.
Wspólną mądrością.
it can have we have a collective wisdom.
Jesteśmy silni wspólnotą naszą.
We are strong in the sense that we are a community.
I zawsze naprawdę w tej
And
możemy wymyśleć dobre
together we can search for and arrive at good solutions.
Ja mam tylko powodować dyskusję,
I'm just a catalyst for discussion.
a ludzie zauważą, co
And
należy.
people will see what needs to be done themselves.
Taką rolę sobie
That's
wyznaczyłem.
my role, and that's the role I see for myself.
Na inne przewodzenie nie nadaje się, jestem już za
I
stary.
am too old for any other sort of leadership.
Widzę wielu świetnych ludzi, tylko
I could see lots of wonderful people.
Ja chcę przez moje spotkania
Want
wystartowanie zdolnym młodym ludziom.
I want to inspire young, talented people through my meetings,
Ale jednocześnie wspólnie postawić diagnozę
and
problemu.
also to diagnose the problems we've got.
Well, we are grateful for the catalyst role you have played in inspiring others for a long time. We are grateful to God for the role he has played in your life. We are grateful to your wife for the role she has played in your life. And we are so grateful to you for inspiring us to go big. We really thank you for all that you've done for the freedom movement, for people around the world. And I know what you'll do for many more years to come.
I'm at your service.
Well, we wish you all the very best, President Wałęsa. Thank you very much.
Dziękuję.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Going Big podcast. I hope today's conversation left you feeling energized and ready to tackle your biggest goals. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. It really helps spread the word, and it gets these inspiring stories out to more people. You can also find more content, resources, and updates at our website, goingbigpodcast.com. Remember, the only limits are the ones you don't challenge, the limits that you impose on yourself. Keep pushing, keep growing, and above all, keep going big. See you next time on the Going Big podcast.